me forever to set this up, but
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm Virginia Lee, and today I'm going to tell you how to get into NYU's Dramatic Writing program. It's also called the Rita and Burton Goldberg Department. So I have all my notes here and I'm ready to go. I decided to do this video because when I was applying to NYU Dramatic Writing, I was searching YouTube and trying to find college application tips and couldn't find anything, maybe because it's a smaller department. So now I'm going to read out the requirements for the writing portfolio. So USC says, submit 3 to 4 separate writing samples that together total at least 15 pages and that do not exceed 25 pages. At least one of these samples must be an example of dramatic writing, screenplay, stage play, or script for television. The other 2 or 3 samples may be, but are not limited to, additional dramatic writing samples, memoirs, short stories, fictional material, and adaptation based on fact. Choose material that is dramatic and self-contained with an inherent conflict, a strong protagonist, and a beginning, middle, and end. Alright, so this is the most important component of your entire portfolio as a dramatic writer, dramatic writing applicant. And my first piece of advice is just to follow their rules, because you would be surprised how many applicants don't follow the rules that are given. What are the rules? Let's go over the parts that are the most important. So the first part is dramatic, self-contained, inherent conflict, strong protagonist, and a beginning, middle, and end. What that means is that, I've seen a writer be like, okay, but what if I have this really good piece and it's about this man that is wandering alone in this endlessly dark room, and the entire thing is just an internal monologue about the meaning of family and loss, or something like that, and it's about him dealing with trauma of losing his son. Great, but that's not what NYU was asking for. It might be spectacular, but I would advise you to put something like that, maybe at the back, like at the end, in the 4th or the 3rd sample. But for your first sample, choose something that is something like what they ask. Kind of think a Hollywood blockbuster almost. I don't mean that it has to be very cliche or very mainstream, but I do mean that it has to have a very clear conflict. There has to be a protagonist that is very strong, not strong in the sense that like heroic, but interesting, and that actively goes after a very clear goal. And in the process of the protagonist going after the goal, she or he will have to meet countless levels of conflicts. So I'm trying to think of a good example for this. Okay, so let's say Hunger Games, right? So Hunger Games hits all of these points. First of all, it has a strong protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, hurt, bitter from her past, but still full of fury and fire for the injustices of the world. That's a protagonist that the audience is going to identify with, that the audience will be interested in following along with the plot. Secondly, the Hunger Games trilogy has a very clear beginning, middle, and end. She starts in District 12, she becomes enlisted in the Hunger Games, in the end she overthrows the Capitol. It also has inherent conflict. So you'll notice when watching the movies or reading the book that the central conflict is Katniss Everdeen against society. But there are a lot of small conflicts along the way. For example, Katniss is enlisted into the games, and she must on the first night sit on an interview and talk and make sure that the audience likes her so they can sponsor her during the games. So that's a very small thing in the entire story. But notice that the author, who is the author? Susan Collins, doesn't make it easy for her. It's not like, Katniss just is magically super great at interviewing. No, she sucks at it, and then she has to work on it, and the audience is very captivated by the fact that there is a struggle, because people love conflict. If you notice anyone fighting on the streets, people will automatically be like, whoa, what's happening there? And there'll be a crowd forming. So constant dramatic conflict. So that's my first piece of advice. And notice it says that at least one of the examples must be an example of dramatic writing. I would recommend you to put your dramatic writing example first, whether that be a screenplay or a stage play or a TV play, TV script. Second of all, I would recommend, however, that you have a variety of different types of examples. So, for example, what I submitted is the first one I submitted is a treatment of a feature film, which is basically like a summary or an overview of the entire plot of a full-length film that I wrote. The second thing I submitted is 3 select passages from my feature-length screenplay that is actually the same film. So first of all, I just did a summary of the entire film, and then I submitted 3 select passages of the actual screenplay that I wrote. So yeah, that actually for me, I just made that count as one piece, even though it's actually three different samples of it. So if you also have a feature-length screenplay that's 120 pages, you're not allowed to put that many pages. Instead, maybe just choose 2 or 3 of your strongest pieces. Once again, choose the ones that have constant conflict, that show strong character and anything like that, to show the dramatic writing applicant board that you know what you're doing, that you already have some previous training in it, or you know what you're talking about. Or if you don't have any previous training in it, which is totally normal, most people do not, because dramatic writing it's not very accessible actually. I would recommend going online and looking at some screenwriting tutorials, getting the basic stuff down. Honestly, it does not take that much time, and then just doing your best in writing a sample. The third thing that I selected is a memoir. It's a kind of a short story about my aunt telling me about her experiences in the Chinese Cultural Revolution. I actually wrote that for my English class, so yeah, just look through your old documents. If you're applying to writing, you probably did really well in English class, and you probably have some spectacular pieces, so try to pull some of those out. And the fourth one is I submitted yet another screenplay. This time, the genre was very different. The first screenplay that I selected was about a young girl pursuing her ambitious dreams of becoming a dancer. So it's very like almost like teenager coming of age. And then the last one that I selected is this very science fiction one. There's a lot of like sexual elements in it, and it's very like future and tech mature. So yeah, I kind of wanted to show them that there are different sides of my writing capacities, and I would advise you to do the same, to not only show them that you are strong in writing a particular genre, but maybe also show that you are very flexible, you're very elastic. You can also write comedy, or you can also write horror, or whatever it is. And last of all, I would remind you that you should not submit certain types of writing. Go on NYU's website. I will link to it in the description below. Please read through it very, very carefully. I know it's stressful to read the instructions. Like, I didn't read it carefully because I was so stressed and I didn't want to read it almost. I would really recommend you to go through it, because what happened was that they don't allow poems, and that they don't allow journalism. And actually, I almost submitted a poem, and it was like last second that I changed it. So yeah, make sure to look through those requirements. So that marks the end of this video. I don't want to keep you, so if you have something else to do, please click out of this. It's fine. But if you are on a break and you want to see a few more videos that I would recommend is one video I made on how to get into USC School of Cinematic Arts film production major, or any other major. I'll link to it here. And the other video I made is reading out my cinematic arts personal statement. So that's going to help you a lot with essay writing. If you like this video, I know people say it all the time, and like, you get really tired of hearing it, but if you like this video, please like and subscribe, because I don't have a lot of subscribers, and whenever I get any kind of feedback, it just makes me so happy. If you guys want to see any specific types of videos, I've also gotten into Boston University, Emerson University, Northeastern, UC San Diego, and UC Davis in the film production or film studies majors. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I got into those schools, I would love to make a video about that as well. If you guys have any suggestions for other videos I should make, please comment below as well.